Hey everyone, Robert Ferringo with Doc Sports. That's docsports.com. And today we're going to talk a little bit about why you should be betting on the NFL preseason. Now I know at first that sounds crazy, right? Like really insane. And I agree with you. That's how I used to look at NFL preseason betting as well. But I'm going to explain some things to you. I'm going to give you 4 reasons why you should be betting this NFL preseason, and the longer I talk, the more sense I am going to make. Now again, let's flash back to Robert Ferringo, professional handicapper, circa 2006. If you had talked to me about betting on the NFL preseason, I would have thought you were insane, all right? Betting on the NFL preseason is only for the true degenerates amongst us, right? Just the true masochists. I mean, who wants to put money down on some 4th-string rookie quarterback from the Sun Belt running a 2-minute drill, throwing passes to 2 wide receivers that are going to be, driving a delivery truck next week? Like, where is the upside in that? So I get it. That's most people's reaction to betting on the NFL preseason. However, then in 2007, I had a losing football season. All right, had to stew about that all off season, just pissed off. So come 2008, I was ready. Okay, by June I was ready to start making some football plays, making some football bets. I'd done all my research. I was gung ho for it. And someone came to me and they asked me if I'd be interested in releasing plays on the preseason. And at first I had my normal reaction. No, I like my money. I'd like to keep it rather than waste it on the preseason. Then I started doing a little digging, doing a little research, decided to give it a chance. Well, let's flash forward to today, and I have turned a profit in 9 of the last 11 Augusts with NFL preseason and those early college football games. Last year, we won $1,500 alone just in August. Now, this is betting the preseason, and at Docs, we generally just bet 1 and 2 units per play on these. So that's plus $1,500 using a lot of small plays, all right? So let's get to the reasons why you should be betting the preseason and why you may turn around and come to my mode of thinking when it comes to this. And reason number 1, which we already kind of touched on, is there's money to be made. Honestly and truly. It seems pretty obvious, right? That'd be a good reason to bet on something, is that you think that you can make money doing it. Well, you absolutely can, all right? I'll do another video later on about the tips and tricks and trends and the things that I focus on and how to turn a profit betting on the NFL season. This is just why you should be betting on the preseason. And reason number 1 is once you get the hang of it, it's actually a pretty good moneymaker. Think of it this way. The NBA and NHL playoffs, you bet them and handicap them completely differently than you do the regular season, right? March Madness, March college basketball compared to November and December college basketball, completely different things. Baseball playoffs, World Cup soccer compared to domestic soccer, completely different, right? Well, football is no different. And the NFL preseason is just one subsection of the larger organism, if you will, that is football betting, all right? It has its own traps, it has its own tricks, but when you get right down to it, it's betting football, just betting football with a little different structure. All right. That brings me to sunny point number 2, which is more of a corollary, I guess I would say, and that is by betting on the preseason, you are expanding your opportunities. All right. There is a reason why professional card players, professional poker players, play cards online with 15 hands in front of them, with 15 different screens in front of them. To compare it to football, there's a reason that if you are the better team, you want to expand the game, right? Whereas if you're the worst team or the underdog or the overmatched team, you want to shorten the game. You want to run out the clock. Well, why is that? Because if you are talented at something, like, say, handicapping and betting on football, you want as many opportunities as you have, all right? Because that talent is going to play itself out over the long haul. That's when we get into the gambling is not magic, it's mathematics things. So by betting on the preseason, now the football season, college and pro, is by far the shortest of any professional sports season, professional or college sports season. You're only talking 16 games a team in the NFL and 13, 14 games if you make a bowl in college. So by betting on the NFL preseason, we're adding 4 full weeks to our opportunity base here, All right, we've just expanded the NFL season by about 25%. And if you know what you're doing, again, that's a positive thing. You're giving yourself more opportunities to cash in. The more games, the better. All right, because the more opportunities you have, the more likely you are to find that one or two prime spots to put your money in and give yourself an advantage. So reason number 3 on why you should be betting the NFL preseason is that, look, treat it like a preseason for bettors and for gamblers as well. All right. You should not be betting as much money on NFL preseason games as you do regular season games. I will say that. There is volatility there. I'd be a fool not to acknowledge that. So you usually want to scale it back to half or maybe a quarter of what you would bet during the regular season. All right. But let's forget about the money aspect. We covered, that's reason number 1 to bet on the preseason, is because there's profit to be made. But this is actually a beneficial thing for you as a bettor as well. What was the last football bet that you made? The last NFL football bet that you made? It was probably the Super Bowl, right? That was 6 months ago. Okay, so what are you going to do? You're just going to wait until the start of the NFL season or week 1 in college football and then just come out guns blazing, having not made a wager in just about 7 months. It'll be 7 months by then. So this year, I just turned 40. I like to think I am in reasonably decent shape, and I'm still pretty active. And one thing that I can tell you that I have adopted as I have gotten older compared to my 20 and 21-year-old athletic self was I now appreciate the philosophy behind stretching and warming up before you're going to exert yourself into something. NFL preseason betting is the same idea, okay? You don't want to go all out, and you shouldn't, but look at this month as an opportunity to warm up those parts of your brain that are dedicated to NFL handicapping. And it's not just that, all right? It's not just that. Think about what you have been betting on the last 6 or 7 months. Soccer, hockey, baseball. Basketball is the only spread-based sport I bet that you've bet on over the last 6 or 7 months. All right? I mean, maybe you're into the CFL, maybe you're not, but that's Canadian football. That's not real football anyway. The bottom line is that betting on money line sports, which is what I primarily have been doing over the last 6 or 7 months, and especially over the last 2 months, is completely different than betting on a spread-based sport. In fact, that's one of the things I love about baseball. When baseball season comes around, I've just gotten done with the gauntlet of football, NBA, college basketball for the most part, all right? I love the fact that baseball comes around. I only have to pick a winner. I only have to worry about a team winning a game, not how they win it and by how much. So it is completely different to shift gears as a handicapper, going back to a spread-based sport from a money line sport. Beyond that, it's reading the lines each week in the NFL preseason. It's feeling the ebbs and flows of a game, the back and forth. It's winning a bet that you should not have won. It is losing a bet that you should have won and dealing with that during the preseason. It's waking up on a Monday morning after the NFL preseason week 2 or preseason week 3, and you've either gone 4-1 and had a winning week, and then how do you transition that momentum into next week's play? Or it's waking up when you went 1-5 that weekend and dealing with that anxiety, the anger, the angst of having a losing football weekend. Only you're doing it with much lower stakes. It's getting used to at what point of the week do you start looking at the lines? At what point of the week do you put your bets in? It's getting into a rhythm. It's getting into a routine. It's getting your focus on how you're going to bet, the fundamentals of it, all right? So that once the regular season starts, you're already in a little bit of a rhythm. You're already in a little bit of a routine. You've already got a little bit of a feel for what's going on. And that brings me to point number 4, which I just touched on a little bit, but betting on the NFL preseason makes you pay attention to the NFL more. Now look, I get it. You're a football fan. You're a football guy. You're into the NFL right now. You watch ESPN every day. You're reading the fantasy sites. You're on Twitter every day. I get it. You're all over it. You don't need me to tell you to pay more attention by betting on the NFL preseason. However, you are missing out. All right? And it's easy to dismiss a lot of what you see in NFL preseason action because it happens every year. There's some schlubby team that goes 4-0 in the preseason and then goes out and goes 4-12 during the regular season. I think just a couple of years ago when Cleveland went 0-16, I think they went 4-0 in the preseason. All right. On the flip side, there's always some playoff team that goes 1-3 or 0-4 in the preseason and just looks terrible. And then they come out and they win their division. You know, the Colts, the Peyton Manning Colts used to be notorious for that, for how bad they were in the regular season and then just coming out and whooping up on people during the regular season. So I understand it's very easy to dismiss a lot of teams like that. And those are outliers. All right. But there's a lot of teams in the middle, and watching them, watching how they perform during the preseason is very beneficial to you, okay? Who looks better than you thought that they did? Who looks worse? Who looks organized? Who looks discombobulated? Who's adjusting to a new offensive or defensive system, and how are they adjusting? How about those preseason camp battles? And I'm not talking about the quarterback battles like who's going to start for the New York Giants or the Dallas Cowboys. I'm talking about that starting left guard, that starting safety, that nickel corner. For certain teams, you're paying more attention to that stuff if you're betting on it every week because your money lures you into it, all right? And also, if you're betting on these games, you're more likely to watch some of them. Now, I'll admit I don't watch a ton of preseason action. I usually try and watch first quarter week 1, first 2 quarters week 2, the first 3 quarters of week 3. I pay no attention to week 4. Week 4 is a cesspool. But if you're watching more, again, you are going to pick up on things like body language and physicality and things that will transition a little bit, that may influence your thinking a little bit that as you go into the regular season. And the bottom line is this: you're going to pick up more information about players, coaches, and teams if you're paying attention. And you're going to be paying more attention if you're actually betting these games versus just talking about it with your buddies. All right. So that's it. Those are my 4 reasons why you should be betting the NFL preseason. Number 1, there's money to be made. Number 2, you're expanding your opportunity base to make money betting on football. Number 3, it's a warm-up for bettors too, and that has benefits moving into the season. And number 4, it's going to enhance your focus on what you're paying attention to, and it's going to increase your knowledge base going into the regular season. So those are 4 good reasons to bet on the NFL preseason. I am very excited about it. Did I get you? Did I convince you? No? If I did not convince you, there is a very easy solution for that too. Go to docsports.com, www.docsports.com. Find me. All right. Our 1-week NFL preseason packages are $49. The full NFL preseason package, which is 3 weeks plus the Hall of Fame game, is only $99. All right. That's a pretty low risk investment for you right there. If you don't believe me, sign up, follow my plays, do what I do, and see if I can convince you when I make you some money, as I have done 9 of the past 11 August, including plus 1,500 in August last year. So that's it. Keep an eye out for that next video where I actually break down some of the tips and tricks that I'm talking about utilizing to turn a profit in the NFL preseason. I'm not going to give out all of my good ones. I got to keep a couple tools in my tool belt for me, but I can get you started, get you pointed in the right direction, and at least point you in the direction of what you should be focusing on when you're putting money down on these plays. In the meantime, carpe diem and good luck.